Alright everyone, I am making my way into Mart, Texas. This is downtown. Looks like they have a grocery store right here in downtown. This town was basically founded as a railroad stop, late 1800s. Then early 1900s, oil was discovered, and it briefly became a pretty major oil producer, but the wells ran dry. And today, the town's economy revolves around agriculture, as evidenced by this right here. Now that I'm out of downtown, let me show you a map. You can see where I'm at. And in population history, way back in 1920, peak population, 3105. Last census down to 1748. As I was driving through downtown, I noticed this post office. Yeah, that is clearly New Deal architecture. So I looked it up. It was built in 1937. Median age here is 38, so 1 year younger than the United States. Median age of 39. Before I start exploring more, here's the ethnic breakdown. 54% white, 29% black, 6% Hispanic, remaining 11% mixed or other. There's a mural there. Greetings from Mart, where champions are made. Yeah, they've got a caboose here downtown. Clearly a nod to their railroad history. All right, let's head into some residential. See what we can find. All right, I'm off that main street. It's a pretty major highway through Texas, runs through the downtown here. So it's kind of crazy, it's traffic. Anyway, out in the residential now. A bit surprised to see this. Of course, I've just started exploring, because here's the median household income. $62,917 a year. That's over $1,200 a week. That's pretty good money, isn't it? Doesn't look like a town with that kind of income. Yet, anyway. Let's do poverty, though. 14.7 overall. School-age children, 26, 65 and older, only 5%. So poverty is actually not bad, especially when you consider cost of living. It's an 85. 15% lower than the rest of the U.S. Utilities are high, 109. Housing's at 56. That's the lowest. So expect to see houses that are not in super good shape, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Still, with that kind of income, there's got to be some pretty nice stuff somewhere. When I say that, I mean houses. But there is some abandonment for sure. That's just completely disintegrating. Nature taking over. And that one too. Well, I'm going to head up to the other side of town and see what I can find there. That looks like an abandoned school. Probably a high school, huh? Well, speaking of education, a guy named Edward Thomas was born and raised here. He won the Nobel Prize for medicine. He developed a bone marrow procedure for leukemia patients. So this town has got that for bragging rights. Yeah, Nobel Prize winner from this little town here. Country music songwriting superstar Cindy Walker was born and raised here. She is in the Country Music Hall of Fame. She wrote a lot of songs for some major artists, including Bing Crosby, Gene Autry, Bob Wills, Ray Charles, Elvis Presley. Yeah, she was the real deal. Crime, I took a look at that. Last year, 12 incidents per 1,000 people. The U.S. is 21, so crime here is about half what it is in the U.S. overall. Yeah, nature is taking that one, isn't it? This mobile home as well. Well, let me give you a median home value, $116,100. The roads through town are not paved or barely paved. Very, very bad shape. I was going to say, they have a lot of stuff, but it's hard to imagine anyone living there, isn't it? Windows are all boarded up. I've got to be honest. I'm not seeing that 60,000 plus income a year. I'm wondering if maybe some of the farmers who live on the edge of town, their incomes are skewing it. I'm just driving through street after street. This is what it looks like. I've always got people telling me, what about dog sightings? You always do cat sightings, but not dog sightings. Well, because dogs usually aren't running around loose. But there's one for all you dog lovers. Yeah, it's chasing the car now. And there it is. Cat sighting. Right after. You may be wondering about the name of the town. Now, there's another cat. You see it? When the railroad came to town, they wanted to position themselves as a economic hub, or a commerce hub, a commerce mart, if you will. And because of that, they changed the name. Yeah, that's been abandoned a long time, hasn't it? Mattress there. Anyone needs one? These roads, man, if you live here, you're probably having suspension problems on a regular basis. All right, well, I think that's enough for this town. Let's head to the next one. Well, I've just entered the downtown area of Groesbeck, Texas. Let's take a look. Now, this town, like the last one, it's a railroad town, late 1800s. Had a brief economic era of oil, and the well's dried up, and the town is all about agriculture now. Successful, I would say very successful, Hollywood character actor Joe Don Baker was born and raised here. You've probably seen him in quite a few movies. He was in several James Bond movies, including GoldenEye. Love that movie. This is the county seat for Limestone County, so we'll go check out that county courthouse here in a second. Median age of this town is 38. So 1 year younger than the U.S. All right, so that's it for downtown. Here's a map. You can see where I'm at. And then population history, 2010 is peak population, 4328. Last census dropped down to 3631. All right, here it is. The Limestone County Courthouse, built in 1924. That is an impressive looking building. And you can see the columns there. Fits right in with ancient Greece. Yeah, this is classical revival architecture. Another look at downtown. All right, let me give you the ethnic breakdown. 45% white, 30% black, 20% Hispanic, 2% Asian, remaining 3% is mixed race or other. Well, I'm not seeing as many abandoned places here, but still seeing a few. Okay, so here's median household income, $61,571 a year. It's almost $1,200 a week. It's not too bad, huh? There's a whole bunch of cats there. You see them? Again, I've said it before. Texas is the cat state. Well, all right, here's poverty. 7.2 overall. School-age children, only 2%. 65 and older, only 9%. Poverty in this town is really low. All right, well, we haven't done a house for sale bit for a while, have we? We haven't. This house is for sale. It is definitely a fixer-upper, isn't it? Yeah, there's the sign. 709 Navasota. That's the address, if someone wants to look it up. That will take a lot of work, won't it? That's a lot of stuff, isn't it? I don't know if anyone's living there. Cost of living, pretty good. An 85, 15% lower than the rest of the U.S. Utilities, again, 109. Housing is 56. Crime is pretty low. Last year, 15 incidents per 1,000 people. U.S. is 21. Well, let me give you median home value too. $162,500. Yeah, with that said, does someone live in that little tiny house? That is the very definition of tiny house, isn't it? The town, by the way, calls itself the Friendly City. Taking a page from the state motto, I guess. Texas is called the Friendly State. Well, that's what it calls itself. That's a pretty nice house, huh? Needs a little work. I'd be curious to see what the inside of that looks like. Well, all right then, guys. I think that's going to do it for here. Let's head to the next one. These people like roosters, don't they? Well, they live on the edge of downtown Kosse, Texas. I'm heading in there right now. Some of you may remember I was just in Turkey, Texas, not long ago. That's where country superstar Bob Wills grew up. But he wasn't born there. He was born in this town, right here. Yeah, he lived here till he was about 8 or 9 years old. And then his family moved to the panhandle of Texas. I'm residential now. Here's a map. You can see where I'm at. And population history, 1940 was peak. 881. Last census down to 458. It's close to half the town gone. So expect to see quite a bit of this scene right here. That's a nice church, huh? Right there. Median age of the town is 50. Yeah, it's pretty old, huh? A little bit older town. The town started off as a stagecoach stop in the early 1800s for people heading to Texas and out west, or into Texas, that is. Now let's see what else we can find. That house is attached to this bigger house. It's like a little apartment, huh? You're having a guest over. That would be pretty sweet. Kosse calls itself a little town with a big heart. It is very small. There's only like 2 streets. This is one of them. Well, let me give you some numbers. Here's the ethnic breakdown. 80% white, 8% Hispanic, 5% black. Remaining 7% is mixed race or other. Median household income, $61,250 a year. Almost $1,200 a week. Not bad money, huh? You can hear a rooster out there somewhere. Hey, there he went again. So here's poverty, 18.6 overall. School-age children, 49% though. That is really high. Retirement age folks, only 5% though. Crime last year, 3.2 incidents per 100 people. U.S. is 2.1, so crime, a little bit high. Well, all right, here's the median home value. $108,500. Oh, that's not too bad for a small town, is it? There's a couple other residents. Yeah, he's looking at us, wondering what we're doing. Yeah, primary industry here is agriculture. It's probably not a big surprise to anyone. All right, well, yeah, that's pretty much it for this little town. I wanted to see where Bob Wills was born. Well, all right. Now I and all the rest of us have. Yeah, so well, let's get on the road and head to the next town. I am making my way into Marlin, Texas, the hot mineral water city of Texas. Okay. This is downtown here. This town started out as a railroad town, and then in 1892, mineral water was discovered here. And so bathhouses were built, and it became a pretty big destination for people wanting to soak and enjoy the healing properties of mineral water. And it was a big baseball spring training town as well. The Chicago White Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, the New York Giants all had spring training here in the early 1900s. Yeah, New York Giants, that threw me off a bit. I thought that was the football team, but apparently there was a baseball team called the Giants as well. I believe I'm correct. It's what it says on the interweb. All right, so here's a map. Show you where I'm at. And in population history, 1980, 7,099 people. That many people in 1950 as well. That's pretty odd, isn't it? Last census down to 5,462. I was just cruising through the town and I came upon this house. That, my friends, is a tremendous amount of stuff. Wow. That's got to be a record. Yeah, when the town's mineral water fortunes declined, and that was mid-1900s, the town did as well. This is a school that has been abandoned. Here's the median household income, $36,426 a year. That's $700 a week. That's quite a bit lower than the last three towns, isn't it? You can still see evidence of the prosperity, though. You drive through parts of town and you see houses like this. But just 3 or 4 houses down, and this is what you see. There's a lot of decay in this town. Let me give you the, that's a beautiful house, isn't it? Let me give you the ethnic breakdown. 39% black, 28% Hispanic, 25% white, 4% Asian, remaining mixed or other. There's a house there getting swallowed up by nature. Well, let's see, let me give you poverty. 26.7 overall. School-age children, 25%, 65 and older, 30%. Those are all about twice higher than the U.S. During the mineral water boom, Conrad Hilton built one of his earliest Hilton hotels right here in this town. This is it right here. Obviously no longer open. He was born in New Mexico, and I did a video and showed you that town that he was born and raised in. It's very near the spot where the first nuclear bomb went off, or where it was tested, that is. Marlin is the county seat for Falls County. There's the county courthouse. You can barely see it through the trees. I'm trying to get you a shot of it. It was built in 1939. That is Art Deco. I'm not sure what this was. Well, it looks like it might have been a bank, doesn't it? I've got some houses being swallowed up by nature here. This is an entire street of them, pretty much. Let's see, let me give you cost of living. It's a 79. So that's 21% lower than the US. Utilities again, 109. Housing is a 33. So that tells us houses are going to be pretty inexpensive here. Neighborhood grocery. Check cashing in money order. Yeah, I don't think that's open anymore. Yeah, common sight here. Trash on the ground as well. Seeing that quite a bit. Yeah, people just find a spot, throw the trash on the ground. There's an abandoned supermarket. Crime. Well, you're seeing a lot of poverty. You might think crime is high here. Nope. Last year, 12 incidents per 1,000 people. It's about half what it is in the US. Crime's pretty low here. All right. It's been long abandoned. It's got some dishes still up there. One in the back and one right there. There's a lot of them in this town. Okay, so let me give you the median home value. $66,000. Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive, isn't it? I wonder what that was. Looks like that burned down partially. Well, all right, guys. I think that's enough for here. Let's head to the next town. I am heading into Bremond, Texas. This is downtown. This town was founded by Polish immigrants who came here to grow cotton. There's still a Polish food store here, over 100 years later. Well, it's a pretty nice looking old downtown, isn't it? There's stuff that you could do with that, I'm thinking. Well, okay then. Let me show you a map. You can see where I'm at. And then population history, peak population 1950, 1141. 2020, last census down to 858. Median age here is 34. There's just all kinds of stuff going on there, isn't there? Here's the ethnic breakdown. 57% white, 17% black, 16% Hispanic, 1% Native American. Remaining 10% is mixed or other. Now in the late 1800s, mineral water was discovered here, just like the last town, but they took a different tact here. They bottled it and sold it, and it became a pretty big industry. But in 1921, a fire destroyed the bottling factory, and that business here ceased. Today the town revolves around agriculture. All right, median household income here, it's pretty good. $71,667 a year. That's almost $1,400 a week. And poverty, 20.4 overall. 17 and under, 16%. 65 and older, 33%. That's a little bit high for retirement age folks. And cost of living is at 84. Utilities again 109. Housing is at 52. And let's see, crime. Last year, 10 incidents per 1,000 people. It's less than half the U.S. rate of 21 per 1,000 people. So crime here is not bad. They seem to have it under control. Well, all right. This is pretty much what I'm seeing everywhere. Not really much else to show you. So let's head to the next town. I'm driving into Calvert, Texas. This is downtown. A pretty major Texas highway goes through the downtown. So as you can see, traffic is kind of crazy for a town as small as this one. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. There's less than 1,000 people here, let's put it that way. You wouldn't know it driving into it. Anyway, let's head off away from the downtown. Here's a map and population history. Way back in 1900, there were 3,322. That was the population. Last census down to 962. That's quite a few people gone, isn't it? Look at this. This is a hotel. That looks straight out of the late 1800s, doesn't it? I bet it's that old too. Wow. By the late 1800s, cotton production was the major industry, and in fact, in the late 1800s, the largest cotton gin in the world was located here in this town. The town revolves around agriculture now. I'm making it a point to go the speed limit because I hear this town is a big speed trap. In fact, it is the second source of income after agriculture. No, I'm joking about that part. But I read they make quite a bit of money with the speed traps here. Median age is 48. And here's the ethnic breakdown. 41% black, 38% white, 19% Hispanic, 2% mixed or other. Now with the huge population loss, I was expecting to see a lot of abandoned houses. This is what I'm actually seeing. Wow. That is a big house. Here's the median household income, $51,000 a year. That's $980 a week. So that is the second lowest of the towns I've showed you so far. But it sure doesn't look like it. There's lots of big, fancy, pretty houses here. I mean, look, wow. It's like all over the place, aren't they? Here's poverty. 5.8 overall. 0 for school-aged children. 65 and older, 14%. You can't argue with poverty numbers like that. That is some kind of house, isn't it? I don't know what that is. Calvert Courthouse. Okay, yeah. I think this used to be a county seat. It no longer is. That might have been the former courthouse. Okay. Well, let's see. Cost of living's pretty good. 83. 17% lower than the rest of the U.S. Utilities even higher here, 110. And housing is a 59. Anyway, there's an old historic church right here. Episcopal. Well, trees are covering it up. That is in really good condition, though. See the cross up there at the top. Alright, I am on the other side of that main street. And, well, things have changed a bit. It's like night and day. Got that big highway running through town. The houses I just showed you on one side, that's what they look like. And then on the other side of this main highway, this is what it looks like. Another beautiful little church. Yeah, it is having services. Awesome. And that is Carpenter Gothic architecture, by the way. Always a pleasure to see that kind of architecture. Yeah, it's definitely not the same over here. Alright, I haven't given you a median home value yet. $116,700. Alright everyone, that's going to be it for this video here in Texas. We will be continuing on our trek across the Deep South. Louisiana's up next. We are heading to a capital city. Not the capital of Louisiana, but the capital of Cajun country. And what we consider to be the best food in the world. Anyway, that's coming up next. We will see you guys there.